Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for being here. Wednesday, December 31st. Yes, it is New Year's Eve. Pretty incredible. New Year's Eve. Starting 2026 tomorrow. And pretty wild day for the Diggs family yesterday. Stephon and Trevon. Diggs, obviously Stephon entering the playoffs with the Patriots has some, arrested, pretty horrible allegations. I don't know anything about the ins and outs of that story. And then his brother, Cowboys cornerback Trevon Diggs, waived by the team. Right now we're talking about, should the Jaguars have interest? Should the Jaguars potentially pursue a Trevon Diggs for their playoff run? And that's where we're at. Why are we talking about that? Well, obviously they traded away Tyson Campbell. Jordan Lewis is likely done for the year, it seems like, even if the Jaguars make the ultimate playoff run. So that's kind of why you're talking about potentially adding a corner. And I've seen some folks on Twitter talking about, maybe the Jaguars should take a look. And so we'll talk about it. Excited to get into it. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out GenJag.com, pick up some new Duval gear. Help support the channel. Look damn good while doing it, if I do say so myself. So Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevon Diggs, he's on waivers. So any team could claim him via waivers. That's definitely a possibility. And if he clears waivers, then he'll be free to sign with whoever he wants to. You would think he'll end up, if he ends up anywhere, he'll end up with a team in the playoffs, right? That would be the general assumption. The Jaguars do qualify for that as the current AFC South division leaders. They will win the AFC South with a win over the Titans on Sunday, as I have been talking about all week. If you are in Jacksonville, if you are anywhere close to Jacksonville and you are able to go to that game, I highly encourage you to do so. It is one of those moments that you just want to be a part of in Jacksonville Jaguars history, in my opinion. So be there, be loud, have a good time. Obviously, not everybody can make it, and if you can't make it, I'm not trying to make you feel bad about it, but if you can make it, I think you probably should strongly consider getting out there. Trevon Diggs, when you just talk about the player, I think a lot of people remember what he was, what he did when he intercepted 11 passes in one season, which is absolutely incredible. He's 28 years old. And, the start of his career, even though he was like volatile, he would jump routes and make mistakes and things of that nature, he was picking off passes at an insane rate early in his career. Even outside of the 11 interception season in 2021, as a rookie, he had 3 interceptions. In 2022, he had 3 interceptions. But since 2022, his first, 3 years in the league, he had 17 interceptions. Since then, he's had a total of 3. And there's been injuries. There's been different things going on. Why was he released, or why was he waived by the Cowboys? There was apparently a conflict about staying in the D.C. area after the Cowboys match up with the Commanders in Week 17. He really wanted to stay with family. Cowboys were vehemently against that. And there was a number of different things that had gone on, and he's dealt with injury. He had a concussion that was suffered outside of football. He had a knee injury. There's different things going on. Missed a lot of time this year. He played like weeks 1 through 6 and then didn't play again until week 16. He just hasn't been very good the last couple of years, to be quite honest. And so I think to understand what type of player you're signing up for is critical. And this year he has not been good. He has not, and I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm not saying he's necessarily a bad player now, but he hasn't been very good this year. I think that's fair to say, 100%. And he's always been a volatile player. Now, again, at his peak, he was a player who got his hands on the football, and the Jaguars do like to turn the football over on defense. So there's that part of it, but there's also just, I think, the volatility in his game that probably doesn't lend itself to the Jaguars defense as much. This year, in the 8 games he's played in, he's allowed 80% receptions when he's the primary target. He has allowed a perfect passer rating of 158.3. 3 touchdowns, 3 penalties, 0 interceptions, 0 pass breakups. It just does not seem like he's playing very, very good football at all. I mean, I think that that's a nice way to put it. So the player is just not what you might think of at his peak. And he hasn't been at his peak for several years now. So that's the player you're signing up for. Then you have all the other stuff, like the Jaguars are a team, an organization that's all about their culture, the people that they're bringing into the organization. I don't know anything about Diggs personally. I don't. But that would be another factor for the Jaguars, obviously. Is this the right type of person to bring into our building? Again, I don't know the answer to that question. And that would be for the Jaguars to decide. And how do they figure that out? Obviously, you have contacts around the league, different things like that. So if the Jaguars evaluated his on-field play and said, this is a player that could potentially help us at the cornerback position, if they got to that point, then it would be about, okay, does he fit our culture? Does he fit our locker room? Does he fit what we want here? That would be the next step, I would think. And again, the Jaguars don't just have full control here, because anybody could claim him off waivers. If he clears waivers, then he can sign anywhere. Any team can try to, get with his representation and sign him. I personally, just not based off anything off the field or anything like that, just on the field play, I don't really know where he fits with the Jaguars. And I don't know that he, being a player who has been, at times a Pro Bowler, a starter throughout his entire career, a former second-round pick, somebody who's gotten paid a lot, if he would want to come into a situation where he's not the starter. And I just think in Jacksonville, if the Jaguars did sign him, would he be a starter? I really don't think so. And we're going to continue talking about this, why I don't think he would be a starter in Jacksonville. But first, obviously got to remind you all about Underdog Fantasy. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. I personally really love the user interface and the user experience on the app. It's absolutely fantastic. And with Underdog Unwrapped, you'll unwrap tons of promos all throughout the holidays. We've got boosts, gimme picks, deal reveals, and even some surprises sprinkled in. Now is the best time to get in the game. You can now make team picks as well on Underdog, which I absolutely love that feature. Obviously, the Jaguars are facing the Titans this weekend. You can take a look at that. Download the app today and sign up with promo code DuvalDaily to score $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code DuvalDaily. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Shout out Underdog Fantasy for supporting them. You are supporting us, and we do appreciate the support. So, Trevon Diggs. Not a starter for the Jaguars, in my opinion, if he ended up here, because you have Buster Brown, who, Monteric Buster Brown, he is a starting cornerback for the Jaguars. I'm excited that he has ascended the way he has under this regime, that he is playing the type of football that he is under this regime. A former late round pick who didn't have the size and the athleticism and all that to be a starter in this league. But lo and behold, He's playing great football for the Jaguars. And he has 9 pass breakups this year. He's really getting his hands on the football a lot and doing it a lot lately. He's also just tough. He'll come up and hit receivers and running backs, doesn't matter where, sideline, middle of the field, catch point. He's just playing at an extremely high level. So Buster Brown is a starter. Nothing that the Jaguars would do right now would make Buster Brown not a starter. Opposite side of the field, Greg Newsome. I think Greg Newsome, I think he's been good enough for the Jaguars to like be a successful team with him on the field, especially lately. I think he's been improved. I don't think he's been great by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he's done enough and has enough playmaking and smarts and kind of the DNA of a Jaguars defender, which is tough, playing hard, all those things, playing smart, to say I would feel much more comfortable with Greg Newsome on the field right now than Trevon Diggs. That's me personally. I would. I think he's been a better corner this year. I think that even though there's some ups and downs, and he's playing against the number one receiver more often than Buster Brown is. That's absolutely true. Then you also have obviously the nickel spot, which Diggs is not a nickel. So you're not playing him in there, and you wouldn't want to anyways. Jarian Jones is a really, really good nickel. I mean, Jarian Jones has just been awesome to see develop as well. And obviously you don't have Jordan Lewis. You traded away Tyson Campbell. But would Diggs even be the next man up? I don't think he would. I think that would be Christian Braswell. And Braswell, he's gotten some experience now, right? He's had a lot of injuries throughout his young career. Originally drafted in 2023, didn't get to play at all. Got a little bit of experience last year, but this year against specifically the Chargers and Cardinals, he played a lot of football, and he's played a little bit here and there since then on the defensive side of the ball. I think him being in the building, him having experience with this group, with this defense, all those things, I think he would be up next too, ahead of Diggs if the Jaguars signed him. So again, would Diggs even want to be in that situation? I think he would want to be on a playoff team, but are there playoff teams where they could potentially use him and his skill set in a bigger role? I think so. And the other thing is, beyond Christian Braswell, well, you don't have much. I mean, you have Keith Taylor, who you signed recently, who does have a little experience in the league. He's a long, 6'3" corner. Don't have any idea what that would look like in this defense if he has to get on the field. And then you have your practice squad, Jabbar Muhammad and Kenny H. Lovely, both of whom, have some impressive traits and skill sets, but they're on your practice squad for a reason. I think that there could be a depth issue. If there's another injury at corner, there could definitely be a depth issue. Right now, there's not, because again, you have Braswell, who you feel like you can get in the game if you need to. You don't love that. Obviously, you want it to be Buster Brown, Greg Newsome, and Jarian Jones. You wanted it to be those three plus Jordan Lewis. You don't have that right now, but you do have Braswell who can get in there. And the good thing about Jarian, he can really play nickel or outside in a pinch. So you could, let's say you get down to a situation and you lose one of your outside guys. You can put Jarian out there and play less nickel, right? You can play dime. You can get more safeties out there, whatever you need to do to kind of pivot. You want to stay healthy, clearly, but having a lack of depth with Jordan Lewis out, it's slightly concerning for me, but I just don't really think Diggs is the answer. I wouldn't be mad if they are looking into trying to find a bottom of the roster corner. Maybe they feel confident in Keith Taylor. I don't know. But That's where I'm at with this situation. I personally wouldn't be looking to add Trevon Diggs. You could also be like in the camp, well, if you sign him or claim him, could you potentially be doing that to get him in your building and seeing if he's a fit for next year? Because let's face it, Buster Brown is a free agent. Greg Newsome is a free agent. You do need to figure out your plan at some point for the future of the cornerback position. My best guess is that Buster Brown will be retained by this group. I think that they love him. And then Greg Newsome, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the situation would be with him, but the Jaguars do have some things to figure out for the future at the cornerback position. I just personally don't think that Diggs, regardless of the person you're bringing into the building, not even factoring that in, just the player has not been good enough to get into this situation. And would he even want to? Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.